Thank you, Producer Chase. This is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting here in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Bedford County, about 50 miles south of Nashville, 25 miles south of Murfreesboro, and the lovely, rolling, a little bit overcast and chilly hills of southern middle Tennessee. It's that time of the month where we have Dr. Tammy Garrett to come in, our Bedford County school superintendent. She does have a special guest today that I've known for a lot of years, Xavier Hamler. Appreciate you coming in today, Xavier.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
And good morning, Dr. Garrett.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
You know, the one person I know for a fact that never gets bored in Bedford County is Dr. Garrett.
Never.
We call it 24/7 every day. 10,000 people in the school system, Monday through Friday.
Yes,
here in Bedford County. I know you like me to remind you of that, Dr. Garrett. But anyway, I know, Xavier, you're the, let me see if I got your title correct. How about elementary education supervisor? Does that work?
That sounds great. Yes, sir.
So you're from Bedford County, is that right?
I am from Bedford County. I grew up here. I attended the East Side Elementary School, Harris Middle School, the old Harris Middle School on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And
that was my high school, Xavier, but go ahead.
High school. Then went to MTSU to study to be a teacher, and I've returned to Bedford County Schools to work. I came back as principal of East Side, and now I am the elementary education supervisor.
So you attended East Side, and you became the I remember when you were the principal of East Side.
Yes, sir.
That was kind of neat, wasn't
Very
it?
exciting, yes, sir. I was
coming home and
full circle.
Whatever got you interested in why education?
I've always loved school. I've had great teachers growing up, so
you had role models.
Role models, yes, sir. Definitely.
And everybody loves Mr. Hamler.
Everybody.
Everyone.
That's hard to do, too.
Everybody loves him. The kids, he walks in a building, they just light up.
Well, I like to serve and I like to help, so it's a perfect career for me.
You know, and not everybody gets into education as a passion, but for most everybody that's in it, and Dr. Garrett and I have talked about this on the show before, because even with my two family members in education, walking through Kroger, I'm not Scott Johnson. I'm Lee Cooksey's dad or whatever. I'm Alice Johnson's husband, because all the kids come up and, you remember me? You had me 10 years ago, and tell you stories that you may not remember.
That's correct, yes.
But what impact you had on their life, right?
Thank you. Yes, sir. That's correct.
And, well, good. We're glad you came in today. And what I know you got some information there, Xavier. What do you want to talk about?
Yes, I'm here to talk about two important events that we have happening on April 4th of this year. One is pre-K registration and the other is kindergarten registration. We'll first begin with pre-K registration. Pre-K registration will be from 8:30 to 4 p.m. on April the 4th. That is a Friday, and it will take place at Harris Middle School.
Everything's Harris Middle School.
Harris Middle School. We don't have school that day, so it's a staff work day, so there will be no students in the building. Children must be 4 on or before to apply for pre-K. Parents are applying for pre-K because they're not guaranteed a spot in the program. After we receive all the applications, we will go through those and we will select those students who will attend the program. When parents come to Harris Middle School, they need to bring these particular things. First of all, bring your child. We want to see the child. We will be administering a screener to the child. So please bring the child. Please bring the child's birth certificate showing proof of their age. Parents also need to bring the child's immunization or health records showing they have their shots and a proof of a physical. And then also the last thing they need to bring is proof of their income. Pre-K is based on income, so parents need to bring either their check stub, if they receive any kind of financial assistance, that kind of document, information like that shows what they make, so we can select the appropriate students for the program.
This is for pre-K.
That's for pre-K, yes, sir.
And what day is that again?
That's Friday, April 4th, 8:30 to 4 p.m. at Harris Middle School.
Okay, and that's over there by Central High School.
Yes, sir. The new Harris Middle School, not on Elm Street. Yes, sir.
I don't want to hear about you going to Harris Middle School because that was my high school. Okay, I'm really dating myself now. But 8:30 to 4 p.m. 4 p.m. That's for pre-K.
For pre-K
registration and qualification. It sounds like.
Actually, they are applying for pre-K.
Bring birth certificate.
Yes, sir.
immunization record,
and proof of
income.
And proof of income. And we have to have hard copies of those documents. We won't be able to take emails or any.
So they have to be able to turn something over to you.
Turn something over to us.
So if you got a birth certificate, make a copy of it.
We will make copies for them.
You will make. Well, that's good. Not everybody has a copy.
That's right. So we will make copies of those things for parents.
Okay. And then you've got
the other registration we're having on April 4th, same day, is kindergarten registration. Kindergarten registration is very different from pre-K registration. Kindergarten registration is from 8:30 until 2 o'clock p.m., and that will be held at each elementary school. And parents may be wondering, where should I go for elementary?
Good question.
Elementary school.
Your zone,
if they're unsure where they are zoned, that's correct. They can call our number, the Bedford County School Central Office number at 931-684-3284. And the front desk receptionist will be glad to let them know, inform them where they are zoned. You just provide your address to the person who answers the phone, and they'll be glad to let you know where you're zoned. And that's where parents will show up on April 4th, where they are zoned. They're zoned for Eastside, zoned for Cascade Elementary, Cartwright Elementary. That's the school where parents will go on 8:30 to 4. And I meant to say this for pre-K as well. You don't have to stay for that entire time. You just go anytime between 8:30 and 4 to pre-K and 8:30 to 2.
That's the processing times.
Yes, sir.
You come and go.
You come and go.
You might be there for 30 minutes, right?
And I had the question the other day, how long does it take? It just depends on that family, the kind of questions parents have.
Right documentation.
So it could take 15 minutes. It could take up to an hour. It just depends on what needs to happen during that process.
Now, to figure out what school your child is zoned for, give out that phone number again if you will.
931-684-3284. Parents will also need to bring their child with them to kindergarten registration. Children must be 5 on or before August 15th in order to register for kindergarten. And parents also need to bring that child's birth certificate. They need to bring that child's immunization and physical record, just like pre-K as well. And they also need to bring proof of address. Proof of address is different from proof of income. Proof of address shows where you live, something that ties you to that address.
Could be a driver's license,
your utility
bill,
your light bill, cable bill, phone bill, your lease agreement, something that ties you to that residence. So parents need to bring those items.
You don't need any income information for that because everybody's eligible for kindergarten.
Yes, you're eligible for kindergarten. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And give out the date and time and place one more time. So
kindergarten registration, Friday, April 4th, 2025, 8:30 to 2 o'clock p.m. at your zone elementary school. If I could say a caveat about Thomas Magnet School parents don't have to report on April 4th because their registration application process is different from a typical elementary school.
That's right, because
you're not
zoned for that. You're selected for that, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you brought that up.
Schools have been contacted by that principal about what those parents needed to get that future.
I'm glad you brought that up because somebody could have moved into that neighborhood and just showed up, right?
Sure. Yes, sir. You're correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, good deal. Anything else you want to talk about in those two things,
No, sir.
Xavier?
Those are the two most important things I wanted to share. Thank you for providing this time.
Absolutely, and obviously you're supervising where we create the foundation for our education and elementary education, right?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Garrett, I know you brought a whole host of issues as well. You got a school board meeting tonight?
We do, 6 o'clock at 500 Madison Street.
500 Madison Street. Public's always welcome to attend.
Streaming online on our Facebook page.
Or do that from the comfort of your home.
Yes.
You can see what's going on. And let's talk about, I guess the state of Tennessee has authorized a bonus for, is that certified teachers? Or?
Certified teachers who have direct instruction. They have really defined that, so it's $2,000 bonuses that the state is providing. It is in law of who receives that, so you have to make sure that most of your day is spent instructing students.
So basically you got to be in not necessarily a classroom, but you got to be
Yes.
Okay.
It does not include administrators and supervisors.
Y'all ain't going to be getting that, are you?
No. That's okay. Teachers work hard, and we want to be able to
I'm just kidding, but I mean, what a great opportunity there, because most people don't get into education, obviously, for the income, although it's gotten a lot better over the years, but we've still got a long ways to go. So I guess you guys have to, will the school board have to approve accepting that from the state?
They do. The state required a resolution be passed with the Education Freedom Act.
Okay.
And so tonight we will put that on the table to be voted on, and hopefully what the state has said, they will tell us, depending on how you are marked, of what your job title is, of who gets it. And so it's not a local decision, that is a state decision, but
That's important to know.
Yes.
No, it really is.
Yeah, and I want to make sure the teachers understand that. And I'm sure it will be taxed as a bonus, because that's what it's listed as.
Yeah, because normally bonuses like that have about 30% withholding on them.
I think.
They do.
But the state is sending us money to do the like Social Security and Medicare.
FICA.
Like $300 extra. So.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other caveats that come with that from the state?
Nope.
A lot of times when government gives you money, there's above you, there's little stipulations, right?
I think that
grant money.
They will send it after July the 1st, so I'll have to talk to finance, but it would surely be on the check in either July or August, I would think, but I've got to talk to the director about that.
So that's something they passed during this legislative session?
The special session with the voucher. This went, remember, with the voucher bill?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. And so if it is approved tonight, we'll upload it, and then the state starts sending us money July 1st for the bonuses.
When they passed that bill on vouchers, did it address loss of revenue for local public schools? I don't remember.
They said there's a hold harmless, so it would not impact.
Okay.
Is what we've been told.
I thought that's what they did, but I couldn't remember. I knew you'd know.
The other part of the bonus is that you had to work a full time, and you had to have worked 120 days this year, so it's based on the current year that we're in.
Okay.
So if you were on leave,
24, 25.
If you were on leave or you were part-time, you would not qualify for that. But the money
wife's not eligible.
It's coming from the state. We're just a pass-through.
All y'all educators out there, you heard it's coming from the state. The rules saying it. Well, I'm glad they've done and recognizing, obviously, educators, and we appreciate the state legislature doing
Yes,
that,
we do. At some point, though, I do wish that they would recognize our classified staff, because they're important as well.
Key component, absolutely. And I learned that real quick working school safety over the years. Made sure we had to include all those other folks.
Yeah, we have
a key part of the education process.
Yeah, we have about 411, I think, classified employees, 700 and something certified.
That's the non-teachers out there. For folks don't know, what they are, but that can be anything from plant maintenance people, the maintenance people, to whomever.
Yes, bus drivers, cafeteria workers.
Yeah, nutrition folks. Yeah, absolutely. So, good point. Hadn't thought about that, Dr. Garrett, and I'm glad you reminded us of that. Maybe they'll take that in consideration in the future.
I hope so.
Now, one of the things the state legislature does every year is they study all kinds of education issues, don't they?
Yes, they do.
I mean, they really do.
Yes.
Because education is obviously important. It's the biggest part of the budget normally in any county government is education. And I noticed they have a thing about cell phones.
They do. I don't know if the governor, I think the last step was the governor signing that bill, so I'll have to check. But one of the things they've talked about banning cell phones, but they didn't ban it altogether. It's kind of a misconception.
It's more of a use of cell phones during certain times.
During instruction, when teachers are teaching, and local boards have a lot of leeway as to
You guys already have a policy on that, don't
We
you?
do. It has to be often in backpacks during instruction unless the teacher is using it for instruction.
Which they could, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the current bill and the policy will probably, it has to be voted on by the school board, but I think our current policy aligns with the bill very well, that it has to be off and in a backpack, during the instructional time unless the teacher's using it for instruction. There are some exceptions. Students with disabilities or medical situations, like if a student's a diabetic and they have a monitor that's linked to their phone for an alarm, they would
absolutely,
yeah.
That makes sense.
You know, anything else that they would need that for an IEP or special situation, they could use that. And also have a system for emergencies, because in emergencies, parents want to be able to get in touch with their students to know they're safe.
Yep, understandable.
So I'm an advocate for that as well, because I couldn't imagine as a parent not knowing if my kid was okay. So I will advocate for that, to have those, you know, in case of emergencies, but be off during instruction. So
that's what I call a common sense solution. Right?
Yes.
I mean, we like those.
Yes.
Especially in government. Folks, are talking to Dr. Tammy Garrett and Xavier Hamler with the Bedford County Schools. We're going to take a 60-second break and be right back.
When's the last time you've seen the eye doctor? Don't wait. Whether it's little Carter's first pair of glasses or keeping a good eye on your vision health as you age, your eyes are a precious thing. See personalized care for the whole family and friendly faces at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care on 605 North Main in Shelbyville, across from the U.S. Post Office. Striving to bring you excellence in optometry every single day. Don't put your family's vision off. Make an appointment today at 931-684-2020. Personalized eye care for the whole family at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care.
Kincaid's is proud to offer Beauty Rest Black to our customers. Beauty Rest Black represents a leap forward in bedding, with sleep climate technology keeping you cool, and triple-stranded pocketed coils give you luxurious support all night long. Wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day with a new Beauty Rest Black mattress from Kincaid Service Company, 400 Madison Street, Shelbyville, across from the Speedway gas station. 931-684-5662.
Folks, this is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting, the only locally owned radio station here in Bedford County. We're talking to Dr. Tammy Garrett and Xavier Hamler with the Bedford County School System. Dr. Garrett, when we went off the air, we were talking about the cell phone use bill by students in schools, and it sounds like your all's policy kind of already lines up with what they're talking about, and I call that a common sense kind of thing, right?
Yes.
You know, they can have them, they just can't use them when they're being taught, which makes a lot of sense.
And I have a student advisory council.
You do? I forgot about that.
Yes, and I met with them to talk about this subject.
What did they have to say about it?
The same thing. They wanted to be able to use it, you know, in an emergency, but they were adamant about having it off during instruction.
Good for the student advisor. I forgot you had that. I think that's a neat deal you got there with the get some input, because they're kind of the customers, aren't they?
They are. I met with them recently, and I talked about two things: cell phones in schools and safety. And those students, they are a fabulous group of students, and they were like, hey, we feel safe at school. So I was like, thank goodness. That's good news.
You know, we have high school students in here on different shows every once in a while, folks that are, you know, kids that are really involved and stuff, and it actually kind of makes me feel really good about the future.
Yes,
when I have some of these kids in, and how, you know, how informed they are a lot of times, and don't mind asking questions, and just great kids.
They are. That group, that is.
They don't mind asking you questions, do they?
Not at all. And they are bright. They have some great ideas, and I love the days I get to meet with them. Good group of kids.
Roger that. Now, the state legislature, is there something about what do you call it, a one-time transfer rule in sports? What's that all about?
Yes. The state has been bringing this up, but the TSSAA kind of tackled it before a law could be passed, but I don't know if it'll go through or not. But the TSSAA did pass the 25-26 season. They will allow a one-time transfer without you having to move. In the past, you know, you had to actually move unless you had a hardship situation.
John, is this between counties?
No.
Or between zones?
This is just schools in general.
Okay.
So someone could transfer from a Cascade to a community, one-time, lifetime transfer, without having to physically move.
Oh, okay.
So I think this will have
for sports.
For sports.
Eligibility.
Yes. And so, you know, used to you would have to sit out a year if you didn't move and you transferred. So they're going to allow a one-time transfer starting next season. So I think that we'll see some changes in high school sports.
I know you're a big proponent of sports.
Love
you
sports.
played sports yourself at school, and because I know how's that basketball league? How did that go in the elementary schools this year? I assume it's over by now.
It went great, and what I'm hearing is, you know, when we started this 4 years ago, those kids are now in middle school, and the caliber floor of our middle school is now upgraded. They have a lot of skills.
Dr. Tammy Garrett's Farm Club. She's grown. She's grown those high school teams. And you mentioned that 4 years. I mean, when we were sitting here talking about it, that'll help us later on in high school.
Yes, it will.
And of course, it obviously brought a lot of good identity to it and buy-in at the elementary schools, right?
Yeah. And my goal is, before I retire, to have a gold ball somewhere in this county.
And how do you get a gold one?
State championship.
I was going to say you got to win a state championship, right? All right.
Yes.
But well, good. I'm glad that was a great program y'all started in the elementary schools, and I know folks. Don't you have folks help out and sponsor like T-shirts, things like that?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of great sponsors for our programming, for everything.
You really do. So we appreciate folks doing that. And anything else at the state you can think of right now? I'm sure there's other issues, but
I can't think of anything right now. They're still there, so we'll see how it all. One of the things with the sports that I would like to remind the public of, and when the state gets involved in sports, they don't fund sports or extracurriculars. That's all locally funded. So, in my opinion, if they get into the sports arena, and I have expressed this with legislators,
talk about regulating it,
then you need to get into the funding of it.
Well, there you have it. Yeah, that's otherwise it's called unfunded mandates.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's the term we use in government when the government above us tells us to do something, and then it's going to cost money and don't give us the funds to do that. So, good point.
And it's an equity issue, because if you go to some of these places that have a lot of tax revenue and things, it looks like
different
college.
Demographics.
Yeah, and then it's not equitable.
A lot better at tax base and stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely. Good point. That's a good point. And I was so glad when they did some of the different funding formulas they have now.
Yes.
That really help Bedford County, right?
It does.
And
it
we
really
appreciate state legislature doing that.
Yeah, and we've made a lot of progress, and I think that's one of the reasons we had the funding to address, things like interventionist and extra help with ESL. Now we have enough ESL teachers. Before we didn't have. We were 41 short when I started 44 years ago.
You say 4 or 41?
41.
ESL short.
Yeah, now we have. I think he used to do the ESL. Now Kathy Reed does it, but I think that'll make a difference in our numbers and what we're able to do for kids.
Do you still have at least long-term plans to maybe do a newcomers academy at some point?
We have talked about that. The state, that's a great question, because we've talked about this for several years, and it is still on the table. We met with the state last week. They can only stay in it a year. So right now I'm trying to evaluate your return on investment.
Because you have to have a physical place.
Yes.
A building.
And we could possibly put them in a current building, but since January we've seen a really decrease, a real decrease in the number of newcomers. So
explain to our listening audience, we all know what it is, but what a newcomers academy would be. The state authorizes us for y'all to do that. What is that?
It is when a student comes in from another country and does not speak English. They could stay in this academy for a year to kind of get accustomed to the culture, to learn the language.
Really help them focus on language skills.
Yeah. And it would really be beneficial for those coming from places where they didn't have an education in their home country, or maybe they only have a year or two.
I mean, you've had kids show up for high school that don't speak English, right? That's a huge challenge for educators.
Yeah. And haven't been to school in their home country, or haven't been to school for several years in
so
their
they
home
maybe
country.
can't even read in their own language.
That is correct. So we feel that it would be beneficial, but we've got to see some things at the state level and the federal level, how things shake out, because if we're not having newcomers, then a newcomer academy is
real need for it then. Yeah.
So we've had a decrease in the amount of newcomers from this year, from starting in January. So
I think you had quite a few last year.
Yes, we did. Yeah, so we're going to look and see, is it a good return on your investment?
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. And I know I'm just glad the state authorized y'all to be able to do that if you have to, because I think it helps all students.
It does.
If you have a facility like that. Let's see here. What else we got going on, Doc? We got a few minutes left. Oh, you guys had I know school safety is a big thing for you.
Yes.
And you guys recently participated with local, city, county, state public safety folks and did a an intruder drill, I would say.
Yes, we did. We did an intruder drill where they pretended like someone came in. They actually, fired what kind of shots. They're not real shots, but like
blanks.
They sounded blanks. That's it. And then they tested.
So it was like an active shooter drill.
Yes, and it really was a test and an evaluation to see how everyone did in that
And I will tell you, of course, been in law enforcement a long time, when you hear gunshots, it's a lot more realistic than just talking about it.
So we had teachers play the students, play the parents. We did.
It was a staff development day. There were no students there, right?
No students there, but teachers were there, and we had a debriefing this week to evaluate how we did. The law enforcement were able to access the cameras to evaluate how everyone did, and so, hopefully we never have to deal with this, but I do think you practice makes you better, and you see what you can do better.
I think, you and I have talked about it many times, and this is a sports analogy, but when it comes time to play, you play like you practice.
Yes.
So if you practice, and I have seen some of the schools in the past when we thought we had a real situation, the ones that had practiced a lot, it just was second nature, and they just did it. So I know that's what you guys were doing. That was at Central High School, right?
Yes, it was.
Our largest and most complicated facility.
Yes, and we did.
Y'all picked a tough one to do it in.
Yeah, and we did the whole process. The evacuation to somewhere else. We also did the reunification. We had people playing parents.
Parent reunification?
Yes, we did the whole
Parent
thing.
ID? Identification.
Okay, yeah. And, and for listening audience, the toughest part, and it's understandable, when you get hundreds of parents showing up, it's kind of tough to process that quickly, and folks want to see their kids. Understandable. But that's really, the parent reunification, that's the tough part.
Yeah, so we worked through that, and we met and what can we do better, and we know that going forward, and we'll practice again. We have some of the best agencies that collaborate together. That is just always unique, and the TEMA came to evaluate our process and share.
That's the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. Folks out there don't know what TEMA is, but they're the state disaster people, and also work on school safety issues.
And the Homeland Security agents, that has just been a great situation for us. The governor funded that. We have our own.
Every county has one assigned.
Yes, and ours is fabulous, and that has been a great thing. Like if we have right now a student that you're concerned that has some concerning behaviors, you can call him, and he has access to all kinds of information, and he can say, yes, you need to be concerned, or I think you're good. He does home visits to, check and see what the risk is. So it's a great program.
Well, it is, because have you seen some of the what's happened in the past and a lot of the tragedies where there were indicators of, I'm talking about around the country, where there were indicators of maybe, they come up later, right? Well, this person had Facebook posts, this had whatever, but there really wasn't anybody that could focus on if there was an issue, and they had resources from different areas, where if you had all the pieces to the puzzle, you can go, oh yeah, this person might do something.
Yes.
And it's more about collectively getting that information. So I guess that's what he or she does for you, right?
Yes, he does. And he maybe y'all spent some time in D.C. together. He used to be a Secret Service.
Okay. I worked with them a lot.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, he is top notch.
Good, outstanding. Dr. Garrett, we are basically out of time. Is there anything else you want to talk about today, or we can save it for next month?
I think we're good.
All right. We appreciate you bringing your special guests in today. We had Xavier Hamler, the supervisor for elementary education here in Bedford County. Thank you for coming in today, Xavier.
Thank you for having me.
One of the more popular guys in the school system
yes,
out there. So appreciate you coming in. And as always, Dr. Garrett, I know that, as a county commissioner, I get all the time compliments on what your folks are doing here to make things better in education. That's just a fact.
Well, thank you.
And the test results and the metrics that are used to measure that are obviously increasing every year. We appreciate that as parents here in the local community. So thank all your folks, which is a lot of them, for all the job they do. I know folks appreciate it. And obviously quality education is one of the major factors to make Bedford County a better place to live and work. So thank you for all what you do. Folks, this is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. We've got 11 Government Ready to Talk shows every month right here at 0900 for you military types, 9 a.m. And listen and hear it straight from the horse's mouth on what's going on in these different organizations. Scott Johnson, Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. Until next time.
When's the last time you've seen the eye doctor? Don't wait. Whether it's little Carter's first pair of glasses or keeping a good eye on your vision health as you age, your eyes are a precious thing. See personalized care for the whole family and friendly faces at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care on 605 North Main in Shelbyville, across from the U.S. Post Office. Striving to bring you excellence in optometry every single day. Don't put your family's vision off. Make an appointment today at 931-684-2020. Personalized eye care for the whole family at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care. Visit Kincaid Service Company today to experience the superior comfort of a Serta mattress. Serta has pioneered sleep innovation for more than 90 years, bringing quality products to more than 150 countries worldwide. Serta Comfort is validated by consumers with thousands of 5-star reviews and are designed and assembled in the U.S. at one of Serta's state-of-the-art facilities. Serta's award-winning mattress collections are created by providing superior comfort along with overall support and breathability. Get Serta Comfort by visiting Kincaid Service Company in Shelbyville. Online at kincaidservice.com.
WLIJ. Now that's country.